Ellen Page, Elliot.
So let's not spend a lot of time on this because I think it's mostly the kind of distracting, celebrity-based, boring news that I usually try to avoid. But we'll just mention it briefly. Ellen Page has made an announcement that she's now Elliot Page, which it's funny on Wikipedia. They're still furiously updating and editing Wikipedia. But the last I saw, that makes her, they said she is a gay man. Now she's a gay man married to a woman. I don't know how that makes sense. But she's also using her pronouns. She announced her pronouns are he and they. That's
Yeah.
two.
So she's not, she didn't actually say she was a man. The word she used, she said, I'm trans, and my pronouns are he and they, and my name is Elliot.
Yeah.
Now, actually, maybe now's a good time for me. This is really hard for me, Carrie. Hold on. I would like to come out as Ellen Page. We all know Ellen is a social construct. So Ellen's been living inside of me for my whole life, and I really feel like now's the time where it's appropriate for me to come out. I'd like you to call me Ellen. My pronouns are... Oh, shit. I didn't even think this through. I don't know what my pronouns are.
My pronouns, that's why I was in a funny mood this morning. My pronouns are you and your mom and thou.
That's true. Yeah, they were. That was good.
Yeah. Which actually is, I don't know, that kind of silly humor once in a while. So somebody said, I said, these are my pronouns, you and your mom. And somebody said, this is enough to get you banned from Twitter. And I said, you mean it's enough to get your mom banned from Twitter? So,
right.
I don't know
they
why.
weren't using your pronouns. Yeah.
Right. Or somebody else said, you've got to go get ready. You have to host a podcast. I said, no, you have to host a podcast. Why? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. The whole thing is so, he and those don't even agree.
Yeah, that's what I think is. So I don't really care what Ellen or Elliot wants his or her friends to call he, them, she, it. I don't care. That's a thing internally. I do think it's a little bit odd that she's not said she's had any hormone replacement therapy, any surgery. There's been no effort. She literally stuck a baseball cap on and was like, he, they. And kind of chose these pronouns that don't go together. He and they don't go together. So it seems to be this intentional tearing down of any sort of recognition that there are two main genders. And while there may be people a small percentage who are in between or have intersex conditions or other issues where they don't feel like they fit in either quote gender stereotype, choosing he, they is an intentional attempt to destruct or to destroy the categories themselves. So I'm a little bit bothered by that, but in large case, I don't care. But what I do care about is the memory hole that they're forcing us to throw everything down. Can I show you? Look at this. You'll love this, Carrie. Okay. Here's her thing. So let's just take a look. Here's Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes says that in 2007, there was a movie called Juno in which a teenage girl was pregnant. And the person who played the teenage girl is... Where's the person?
Elliot.
Elliot Page. Okay. This one actually says Ellen. They forgot to update this one. But the one up here says Elliot. Amazon, Elliot Page. You can actually click on Elliot Page. And it brings you over to here. Elliot Page. Okay, so Elliot Page played this person. IMDb. Hey, Elliot Page played Juno McGuff. Actually, IMDb got a little bit of flack for putting as Ellen Page here, because this is not okay. And we've seen a lot of these articles come out using Elliot Page's dead name as a problem. Here's why. Blah 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 blah.
So I've already seen people on Twitter getting temporary bans for so quote unquote dead naming.
Right.
Elliot Page and saying Ellen Page. And I also seen SJWs correcting some of the headlines on Twitter. And I mean, I should put correcting in quotes, but they're basically criticizing the headlines that say anything to the effect of, the actor formerly known as Ellen Page has now come out as trans and should be referred to as Elliot Page. They're criticizing that. And I've seen them say, this is wrong. You shouldn't do headlines like this. The correct headline is Elliot Page comes out as trans. Like, to even, it's what you're saying. It's the memory hole. It's to almost even erase history. You're not even allowed to refer to the fact that this person used to be named Ellen and used to go by Ellen, or is a biological woman. You're not even allowed to acknowledge that's somehow ideologically incorrect. And that's the only part of this, like you, that interests me. I don't really care. I think a lot of this is sort of navel gazing,
Yeah. But I think it is worth just pausing and reflecting on the fact that this is a total year zero strategy. This is rewriting history. Elliot Page did not play any character in Juno. Ellen Page played a character in Juno. Regardless of whether you think that now Ellen is Elliot, and that's fine, and you want to move forward and say Elliot began in 2020 on December 1st. That's when, or 2nd, or whatever the date was here. The idea that you have to go back and change documents and change, like, is she now, someone was posting earlier in our chat, like, the Babylon Bee did an article about now she's going to have won the Best Male Actor Award for portraying a female so well. Like, this is, you can rewrite history, but it's a red flag when people when they're focused on convincing you that something, we've always been at war with Asiana, never with East Asia, or whatever it was. Like,
somebody said that in chat. Yeah.
When they start doing that,
change history.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem to me. And there's something worth noting there. That's all. I don't really care what you want to call.
I don't know if you saw this.
Elliot.
We've talked about it, but it's been about a year since we've talked about it. And I tried to find it before this and I couldn't find it. But there was an article that came out a year or two ago where it was in a lesbian publication. I remember that. And I remember they were doing a list of accomplishments of female directors and actresses. And so they had a female director there. I can't remember who it was. I wish I could have found this, but it might have been Bigelow. Anyway, they were saying this was the first female director to win blah, blah, blah. Here's an accomplishment. And then they issued a correction because of complaints from SJWs. And they said, basically apologized and said, we were mistaken. She was not the first female director. The Wachowski sisters were the first female directors. And the thing is, when the Wachowski brothers won that award, they were still both men.
Right.
But now that they're identifying as women, retroactively, we're being told to accept that they were the first female directors to win that accomplishment.
Right. Why weren't they celebrated when that was accomplished?
Right. And they're actively stealing that accomplishment from a woman who is the first woman to win that award.
Yep. You know how you and I joked that before he left office, Trump should just declare that he's a female so he can be the first woman president? Now he could do it after office. Anytime he wants, he could just say, I'm now a female. Yeah. Retroactively, I was the first woman president. Done.
It's also funny that they basically are, this is why there's this rift in the feminist world that's been happening, where they're calling radical feminists like Meghan Murphy, they call them TERFs. They say they're trans exclusionary radical feminists. Not trans exclusionary. They just believe in biology, and they're not willing to lie. And a lot of these radical feminists, they're perfectly fine using your preferred pronoun. They're perfectly fine calling Ellen Elliot, for the most part. It's just they're not willing to participate in this mass delusion and this self-delusion, this lie that biological sex doesn't exist and that Elliot was never Ellen, or that there's no difference between a trans woman and a woman, or a trans man and a man. And so there's been this rift because the radical feminists basically were saying, for the most part, that sex roles, that gender was a social construct, and that it was constraining, and that women didn't need to wear high heels and makeup, and that women could like working on trucks and dressing like a man. I put that in quotes, but dressing very masculine, and that women can be very masculine, and we needed to get out of these constricting gender roles. Okay. But this new kind of social justice feminism is sort of saying, no, they're reinforcing it to an extent, those gender roles, and they're sort of saying,
it.
Yeah, because they're saying, okay, if you put on a baseball cap, you're now a man. If you put on high heels and makeup, you're now a woman, and that's all it takes. And it's sort of just, I just find that first of all to be very absurd, but it's also just kind of interesting how feminism itself is having this internal war over beliefs about gender roles now. So,
I mean, feminism has been anti-science for quite some time, though, because even the radical feminists that claim that gender is a social construct, I mean,
I know.
Yes, it's partially a social construct, but there is biological reasons for some of the gender roles, and so. Like, yes, should we be okay with, like, should women be allowed to do whatever they want and wear whatever they want and still be women? Yes, of course. Same with guys. But it doesn't mean that all of those things are completely divorced from any biological reality, and they're just made up social constructs that, evil white men imposed because we just, we really wanted to see women wear high heels. Like, that's not what happened. And so, feminism, they took a wrong turn at Albuquerque way back a long time ago. And then, the rad femmes just got crazier, and then you had them break off and say, okay, well, not only is gender a social construct, but sex is a social construct, and so therefore there aren't even sexual categories, and therefore he, they makes sense, and Ellen can say, I'm now Elliot and I'm trans, which isn't a gender, by the way. And like it's a destruction of the categories.
To be clear to anyone who's like looking this up, it's not the rad femmes now who are radical feminists don't say that biology is right. No, it wasn't. They've said that gender is a social construct.
Right. No, I wasn't saying rad femmes said that gender wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm saying they were the forefront of feminism was the rad femmes, and these things happened, and then it kind of evolved after that.
Right. Yeah. I was just correcting. Just let me say this to correct the language in case anybody heard it the way that I did. Okay. Radical feminists were saying that gender is a social construct. Social justice feminists are the ones saying that biology itself is a social construct, and they're at odds with the radical feminists.
Yep. So I don't know. I don't really care about Elliot anyway, so I don't think we need to spend any more time. But the memory hole stuff is worth noting, and I just would point out whenever you see that, it's a red flag for any issue. When you see people going back and saying, "Oh, we need to rewrite history. We need to pretend that this other thing." Someone in chat mentioned Caitlyn Jenner, right? Caitlyn Jenner didn't win any Olympic medals. Bruce Jenner won Olympic medals. Like. That's very important to note, because otherwise Caitlyn Jenner actually wouldn't have been allowed to compete in the male Olympics. So this is not, whenever you see that kind of stuff, it's a red flag that reality is offensive to the ideology at play. And any ideology that's so offended by reality that they need to go change history is pretty damn dangerous.